Welcome to Pramati Hillview Academy digital class. Dear students, today I am going to take up another beautiful chapter, the sound of music. Dear students, in the first part of the chapter, the sound of music, let us try to know about Evelyn Glennie. Who is Evelyn Glennie? What's her achievement in the field of music? Why her feat is considered so special compared to others? Let's get answers to all these questions in this first part. Why to delay, students? Let's begin. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl looking younger than her 17 years was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. Dear students, jostle means push roughly, slight means small and thin. Dear students, the scene is of the train platform. It is underground and there is a huge rush at the platform. People are pushing each other to get way. There is a small thin girl. It is Evelyn. Evelyn is standing at the railway platform waiting for the train. And just as she feels the vibrations of the approaching train, she realizes that the train is about to arrive. She gets nervous and excited. This is the train that would take Evelyn to London. She is going to London to learn music as she has got admission in the Royal Academy of Music. Right now, Evelyn is in Scotland. Evelyn belongs to Scotland. Scotland is a country in Europe. Life in Scotland is not as fast as in London. London has a very fast life. It is urban, whereas Scotland has farms and countryside. Evelyn is able to notice all these things. So that is why Evelyn is nervous, because she is leaving Scotland for London. And she is excited also because she is doing something that she always dreamt of. She is going to the Royal Academy of Music to learn music. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London. And daunting enough. Dear students, daunting means frightening, scary. For any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. Teenager, a person who is in his teens. Evelyn is 17 years of age. She is a teenager and she is fresh from a Scottish farm. As Evelyn is from Scotland, which has more of farms and countryside, so she hasn't seen fast life. That is why she is nervous, and the writer says that she is fresh from a Scottish farm. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. Aspiring musician means a person who wants to be a musician. Profoundly deaf means absolutely deaf. Evelyn could not hear, and this was a bigger challenge for her. Moving from a rural area to a fast life was a smaller challenge. Evelyn faced a much bigger challenge, that was her inability to hear. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Gradual means in phases. Here the author says, slowly she started losing the power of hearing, and one day she was absolutely deaf. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong. When the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano, they called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. Isabel Glennie is the name of Evelyn's mother. Evelyn's mother Isabel recollects one incident when Evelyn was 8 years old. She says that Evelyn was waiting for her turn to play the piano. But when her name was called out, she did not respond. And her mother realized that Evelyn did not respond to her name. That means she did not hear her name being called out. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. Conceal to hide. As Evelyn lost her sense of hearing in phases, it was a gradual process. In the beginning, when she could hear partially, she managed to hide his disability from her friends and teachers. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. Specialist means a doctor specializing in a particular part of the body. Deteriorated means worsened, reduces. Urged means requested. When Evelyn was 11 years old, her marks has deteriorated. The headmistress requested her parents to take Evelyn to the doctor. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. Impaired, weakened. When the doctor checked upon Evelyn, he found out that Evelyn had lost the sense of hearing. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. The doctor advised Evelyn's parents that they should get hearing aids for her. Dear students, hearing aids is an equipment that is fitted into your ear and it helps a person to hear to some extent. He also suggested that Evelyn should be sent to school for the deaf children. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. When Evelyn discovered that she could not hear and she would be sent to a school for deaf children, that she wasn't as good as normal children, her world became colorless. It turned black. Dear students, now let us try to understand what does everything suddenly look black. It means that all of a sudden you get such bad news, you get some news that you don't expect, and in return you see blackness all around you. That is how Evelyn responded to this news. But Evelyn wasn't going to give up. This shows Evelyn had determination. Although Evelyn got such a shocking news, still she was determined and she did not want to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. Dear students, pursue means to follow. As Evelyn was passionate about music, this news also did not break her. She was determined to live like normal people and follow her interest in music. One day she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. Dear students, xylophone means a musical instrument with a row of wooden bars of different lengths. When Evelyn saw a girl playing the xylophone, she wanted to play it too. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. Percussionist means a person who plays the drum, the tabla, etc. A person who plays different musical instruments. Potential means quality or ability that can be developed. Now, on one hand, Evelyn's teachers discouraged her because they knew that she could not hear, and hearing was an important part of music. But Ron Forbes saw that Evelyn was very passionate about music, and so he decided to do something. He began by tuning two large drums to different notes. Dear students, Ron Forbes thought that he would teach Evelyn to feel music. He took two large drums and he turned them to different notes. Drums are musical instruments and he tuned them. He turned each drum to different notes. So the sound produced by the drums was different. So it was distinct. Both the drums made different sounds. Don't listen through your ears, he would say. Try to sense it some other way. He told Evelyn that not to try to listen through her ears. He advised her try to feel the music some other way. Says Evelyn, suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. Now, as Ron had tuned both the drums to different notes, the upper part of Evelyn's body above the waist could feel the higher notes of the drum, and lower part of her body, the part down from the waist, could feel the lower notes of the drum. Robs repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. This is how Evelyn could listen to sound although she could not hear. She could sense different notes in different parts of the body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. Ron Forbes taught Evelyn to respond to different sounds. Different parts of Evelyn's body responded to different sounds, and that is how she could identify the sounds and to the different vibrations. Now, once she could identify the sounds and vibrations, the hurdle had been overcome, and Evelyn's career went upward. As she had the determination to become famous, a good musician, she worked very hard. She never looked back from that point onwards. Once Evelyn overcame the hurdle, she started sensing the different sounds through the different parts of her body. She progressed in her career. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. Dear students, youth means young people, people like who are in college or high school. Orchestra means group of musicians. So Evelyn toured the United Kingdom and performed with a youth orchestra. By the time Evelyn reached the age of 16 years, she had decided to make music her life. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. Audition means gave a short performance so that the director could decide whether she was good enough. Evelyn gave an audition for the admission to the Royal Academy of Music, and her score was the highest in the history of the Academy. No other person had scored such a high score as Evelyn did. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. Orchestral work means group performance, performing in a group of musicians. Solo means to perform single, alone. Evelyn performed in a group initially and she got well in her music. As she got confident, she started performing alone. At the end of her 3 year course, she had captured most of the top awards. Evelyn achieved all the top awards by the time she had completed her 3 year course at the Royal Academy of Music. And for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. If anyone says that Evelyn has done something great, she doesn't acknowledge that. She is very humble and down to earth. Evelyn says the two important things for success are firstly, hard work, and secondly, aim. She says that if you work hard and if you have an aim, a target which you have to achieve, then you will definitely achieve it. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought after multi percussionist with a mastery of some thousand instruments and hectic international schedule. Most sought after means most popular, in demand. So Evelyn also achieved her goal. She worked hard and she had an aim to become the topmost, the most famous, the most sought after musician of the world. And finally, she did that. She gained mastery of almost 1000 musical instruments, and she is the most popular multi percussionist of the world, and she has a very busy schedule. She has programs and concerts all over the world. It is intriguing to watch Evelyn function so effortlessly without hearing. Intriguing, fascinating, and curious. The author says when you watch Evelyn work or perform so effortlessly, although she cannot hear, you get very curious because Evelyn can identify the slightest sound made by the musical instruments. In our 2 hour discussion, she never missed a word. The writer of this chapter once had taken Evelyn's interview, which lasted for 2 hours, and the writer says that Evelyn never missed a single word that she spoke. Men with bushy beard gave me trouble. She laughed. Means Evelyn says that those men who have long, huge, bushy beards gave her trouble. You may be wondering, how could they give her trouble? Because when they speak, she couldn't see their lip movement as their lips are covered with the bushy beards. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. Flawlessly means without a fault or mistake. Lilt means a way of speaking, like we say accent. The writer says that Evelyn's speech is flawless and she has a Scottish accent. As she belongs to Scotland, her voice has that accent. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. Evelyn says that she can speak clearly because she had learnt the language. She studied till the age of 11, till the time she could hear. But that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. So one wonders that how could she learn these two new languages despite her deafness. As for music, she explains, it pours in through every part of my body, it tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. Tingles means causes a slight prickling or stinging sensation. So in these lines, Evelyn explains how she identifies music. She says it creates sensation in her skin, in her cheekbones, and even in her hair. So every part of Evelyn's body responds to music. When she plays the xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. The author says when she plays the xylophone, she uses sticks and she can sense the vibrations of the sound produced by the xylophone pass through the sticks up into her fingertips. By leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonances flowing into her body. Resonances means echoes of sounds. When Evelyn plays the drum, she leans towards the drum and she can feel the echo flowing into her body. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibrations pass through her bare feet and upper legs. Whenever Evelyn performs, she performs on a wooden platform and she removes her shoes so that she can feel the vibrations of the musical instruments pass through the floor into her feet and upper legs. That is how she can feel the sound of the musical instruments. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delights her audience. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award. Now, Evelyn is a delight to hear. She gives very good solo performances. In the year 1991, she was presented with this award, which is called as Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year for performing superbly, says master percussionist James Blades. God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. James Blades is a master percussionist, and his words are really great. According to James, God took away Evelyn's hearing ability, but in return, he gave her a strong power of sensing sounds which enabled her to become a great musician. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. Workaholic means a person who finds it difficult to stop working. Narrator praises Evelyn. She says Evelyn is very hardworking. She doesn't stop working. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians, but the rewards are enormous. Dear students, these are the actual words of Evelyn. Enormous means big. Now, to be at par with those people who can hear, who are classical musicians, Evelyn works very hard. For that, she has got very big rewards. Indirectly, these two lines would tell us hard work doesn't go in vain. And also, in order to become successful, one should work really hard. This is the secret of Evelyn's success. Apart from regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. Evelyn does charity also. She gives free concerts in hospitals and prisons. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians. Being a famous percussionist, Evelyn also takes classes for young musicians, for those children who want to learn music. Anne Richland of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says, she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. Evelyn is an inspiration for all. She is an ideal. Anne Richland, who belongs to the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children, says that Evelyn is an inspiration for those children who cannot hear. And when they get to know Evelyn's story, they feel that they can accomplish everything. They can fulfill all their dreams. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. Dear students, accomplished means achieved. Evelyn Glennie has achieved so much in life that those people who are double her age have also not achieved those many things, that much popularity, and those many awards as Evelyn has got. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. Orchestra is a group of people who are playing different musical instruments, and generally the percussion instruments like the drums and the xylophone are placed at the back end of the orchestra, or they are placed at the side. But as Evelyn performs solo, she gives special performances with these percussion instruments. The percussion instruments have come in front of the orchestra just because of Evelyn Glennie. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped, people who look to her and say, if she can do it, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. Evelyn's story is an inspiration to those people who are physically disabled. They feel that if Evelyn can achieve her dreams, even they can. And Evelyn has given a lot of pleasure to her audience by playing such good music. Dear students, we have come to an end of the first part of the chapter, The Sound of Music. The first part is about Evelyn's Glennie's bio sketch. This chapter gives us the message that handicaps may become very successful. They can overcome the problems, and aspirations can be realized if one is firmly resolute and confident. Those who do learn to overcome hardships certainly achieve the highest goals. There is always a way out of the challenges of life. Only one has to trace the way and must go in that path to realize their dreams. That is what Evelyn Glennie did, and that's why she has become very successful. Looking into her story is a great inspiration for each and everyone. Dear students, I'll come up with another video. Until then, bye.